I'm Jenn. I believe your story matters. And I'm going to tell you how your authenticity and your story is actually what is the superpower in your business. Because every single one of us, we have competition. Every single one of us has imposter syndrome where we don't feel like we can do or we're good enough or all those things. And that's not going to go away. But how do we set ourselves apart? And I'm going to talk to you about the pitfalls and, as I call it, the dumpster fires of my world, and how those have actually shaped me into where I am today, and even more importantly, where I'm going in the future. If you go in with the attitude that you are about to leave people better than you found them, it's going to change every single way you enter any room. One of my favorite statements is come into a room more interested than being interesting. Tony Robbins says life happens for you, not to you. And when you grasp onto that, and then you recognize that all of this stuff, you can live as a victim. Totally, people do it all the time. I don't think it gets you very far. You have to know it doesn't. But when you start using that as ways to add value to the people around you, have you ever thought about the hard parts of your journey and what helped shape you to be who you are right now in the best of ways? Maybe you're amazing with people because you've always wanted someone to listen to you. Something different. We're all looking for something different than the business talk where it's the 5 points of what's going to make you more successful. Do these 5 magic things and you're done. You see, people are looking for different, creating spaces where people can dive through the deep stuff, not as a counseling session. You can do that on the side, I'm not a counselor. But to actually go through and reframe, rewire, and go through what your story can be used for. Is it a culture where people feel like they can be themselves? Is there a culture where it's okay to ask questions? Is it a culture where people feel like they can give support and give recommendations without feeling like they're ostracized? Or is it a business that you're leading with authenticity? What's your brand promise to people? Like, how do people feel when they're around you? That is your authenticity. People are going to chase the good deal. And so when you are who you are and use it to connect to people, you are going to create clients that last for a lifetime. Your authenticity is your superpower. And when you believe that, and when you work like that, and you lead like that, you're going to create super fans in life. You're going to be aligned with the right people. You're going to have coworkers that love what they do because they are aligned with a mission, not a product. I am Jenn, and I'm really excited just to get to share my story with you and figure out why in the world authenticity meets business. And navigated a divorce with 4 kids and working at a Southern Baptist church. I don't suggest that to anybody, all right? Just to be transparent. It was hard to say the absolute least. I lost my job, I lost my community, I lost my identity. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do next. I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, who are you? Like, what kind of legacy are we leaving? Have you ever thought about this? What defines who you are? Because you are more than the titles that you have. If you influence one person with the hardest things of your life, I think that's probably the greatest service that we can have. Do you guys have any idea what the worst job in America, like it's an actual voted thing? Any guesses what the worst job in America is? What'd you say? Somebody say this one. I was like, oh geez, there's counseling afterward, I'm just kidding. Any ideas? Worst job in America?
President of the United States.
President? Is that what you said? Okay, yeah, that's there's that. Any ideas? What's the worst job in America? Garbage man? Porta potty? Oh, right. Literally. Summertime porta potty, those guys are saints. Basically, a hospital janitor is the worst job in America. Can you go? Just go there for a second. Just imagine the bathroom cleanup, the bed cleanup, floor cleanup, all the cleanup, and what they see in a one-day span. There's this team, they're up in the Northwest, and they're a hospital janitor team, and they're called the healers and carers. They have the same exact job as any hospital janitor team across America. And they said, you know what? We have the greatest job on the planet. We get to make the bed for the last time when a family comes in and sees their loved one breathe their last breath. We get to clean the floors before the family comes in to say goodbye to their mom a dad that just left a massive legacy. We get to provide a clean space for those who are deeply, deeply in. It's the same job with a different purpose. And so maybe instead of being dissatisfied with the job that we have, it's shifting the lens on how can we shift the perspective on the job that we have. How can we show up different and use our own story and care about people in a way that becomes majorly more impactful, and it has nothing to do with your job title. And I decided if I blame everybody else, I continue to build the kind of life that I was living. And I'm not a big fan of that. How many of you in your own worlds have had a bankruptcy, or you've had to rebuild your life, or you've had to restart careers? And if you keep going at it blaming everybody else, guess what you're about to do? Open a new LLC. Because if you don't take it, and you don't shift your perspective, and you don't shift the way you do things, or the type of people you do business with, you're bringing all that into the new business. So what I know is we've got to be better. We've got to judge way less and listen way more, and we've got to have empathy on the people around us. If we go into a meeting seeking to understand more than to be understood, guarantee you the results are different. Nutshell story is that I had to rebuild my life completely at the age of 40, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's one of those things where I wouldn't wish a lot of the hard times on my worst enemy, but also I believe our hard times absolutely shape us into who we are and gives us heart for other people that we wouldn't have normally had. And so when we learn to kind of frame our story and then learn to step into who we are, then I believe that builds bridges to people. And our vulnerability is what builds bridges not only to our coworkers. I think we forget how deep of an impact we can have. In one appointment, you genuinely can change somebody's life. And I bet if you think back on it and you think of a compliment that you remember, just to think that you have the power to completely change someone's, not only their day, and you literally could change their life. Because so many times people are coming to us, no matter what service industry that we're in, they're coming needing something. And they may think that they need a facial, but what they're actually needing is something so much deeper. Like, who knows what the home life that they're in and how they're being beat down, and they just want to feel good. And you have the opportunity to see them and to find out their story. And what I started to see was people were connecting more with my story when they understood what I had overcome than the mountaintops that I had lived. Because a lot of us don't relate well to success, but every single one of us could pass the microphone around here and talk about the hard times in our lives. The hardest moments in our lives is actually what shapes us for the greatest days of our life. And when we can shift our mindset around that, then we stop living in shame, right? You actually take those, okay, this situation that I went through now gives me the empathy and the capacity to help people in this exact same situation. So if you're like me, I just got a longer list of people I can relate to now. I'm like, well, yep, did that. Yep, been down that road now. You know, I've made that mistake, made a couple of those mistakes. And when I realized that those were connection points instead of moments of disqualifying me, understanding that alignment and core values is literally what it takes to build a life that you're proud of. And that's what led me to authenticity. So for me, authenticity is just you showing up in all that you are. You having, and I'm not talking about like airing your dirty laundry. Like, we all got enough of it. And there's those people on Facebook. Surely nobody in the room is like that. It's just every day. Like, let me tell you all the deep part of my life. I'm like, we might need a therapist. I don't know that Facebook is probably the right platform, right? So that's not what I'm talking about. I went to an event in January, and a speaker by the name of Andrew Cordell. And he gets up there on the stage and starts talking about the 14 foreclosures that he's had, the 2 bankruptcies that he's had. And the man literally teaches people how to build wealth. And I'm like, but what he did was he just evened the playing field. Instead of saying, I'm going to teach the elite of the elite of the elite how to build elite of elite wealth, he put himself down and said, hey, guess what? You know how I can relate to you? I've been there. I've been through the bankruptcy and I've rebuilt it. I'm worth $100 million after the 2 bankruptcies, after the 14 foreclosures. That's authenticity. But when you hear stories of other entrepreneurs who have made it through the pitfalls and they are still standing to tell about it, maybe that's your story. People need to hear that. You know what that does? It gives people hope. And I'm just out here saying, I think people need more hope. I think we need to stop elevating ourselves, putting other people to the to the floor, and we need to start giving people hope and working better together. And every time I close my podcast, I told my audience that I love them. I'm like, that may sound crazy, but you know what's crazier? People hate each other for no reason. So guess what? I'm gonna love you until I meet you, and then I'm gonna decide, or I'm gonna find the millions of reasons there are to love you, right? But like, why are we like guilty until proven innocent? And I think when we build culture around, but you know why I think we do that? Our insecurities and our imposter syndrome literally leads our lives to where we are scared to cheer somebody else on because we think that if they're successful, then they're stealing our success. That's where we got to fix this. There is enough for every single one of us. There is abundance out there to be had.